All right, fight fans. Last night we had a pretty good welterweight fight. A fight that ended up being actually better than I expected. It was Terence Crawford defeating Egidijus Kavaliauskas. Sorry, it's hard for me to pronounce my man's last name, but from the rest of this video, we're gonna call him the Mean Machine. Terence Crawford wins. He stops him in the ninth round. So let's talk about the pros and the cons. Let's start with Bud Crawford. Actually, let me say something about both of them. I did enjoy the fact that these guys decided early on in the fight that they basically were going to stay in the middle of the ring, circle each other, stand right in front of each other, and make it a fight. I thought it was going to kind of be, honestly, a long, drawn-out decision. I picked Crawford actually by decision. But he ends up getting the knockout. So back to the pros and the cons. Let's start with Bud Crawford. I like the first pro would be I like the fact that he came out in the southpaw stance. Being a southpaw myself, I love it when he fights out of the southpaw stance. I believe it gives him or any southpaw a slight advantage over their conventional fighting opponent. Terence Crawford looked fast. Even though he didn't move a lot, his foot movement was still pretty good. And I do like the way that he mixed up his shots. Hooks, uppercuts, straight shots. And it was very little holding in this fight, period. As far as the cons would be, I guess I would have to say none for Terence Crawford. It was really nothing that I saw that I want to take away from and say, well, he could have did more of this, he could have did more of that. I actually thought, to be honest, he fought a beautiful fight. Now, let's jump to my man, the Mean Machine. The pros for him is, first of all, let me start out by saying, all of you Mean Machine fans, forgive me for not knowing who this guy is. Generally when I don't know a whole lot about a guy, I usually get a comment or two from someone saying, well, you should have known this, or this guy was a decorated amateur. Sorry, fellas. I don't know a whole lot about the Mean Machine until last night. The pros for the Mean Machine would be that he was not intimidated. He stood right there in front of Bud Crawford, a fighter who actually has an above average amount of power at welterweight. The Mean Machine stood right there. Another pro would be the Mean Machine's upper body movement. He had good shoulder movement. He had good head movement. He wasn't standing there like a statue. Also, his footwork was very good as well, and I thought that he showed some good power, especially in that second round when now this is just my opinion, he did knock Terence Crawford down. I replayed it 3 times myself. I believe it was a knockdown. He hit him, Terence Crawford came forward, and they kind of got tangled up, and I think that's why the ref said it was a slip, because in the midst of that tangle, Terence Crawford, he fell down, just plain and simple. But that is what it is. As far as the cons for the Mean Machine, I actually don't have any cons. I thought he fought a good fight. I don't know what you all think, or what you thought, I should say, but I thought he fought a good, clean fight. I thought he had a good game plan. He showed that he has power at that division, and I'm gonna be honest, that man is on my radar now. The Mean Machine is on my radar, and I would like to see him again. Terence Crawford puts him down in the 7th round. But then in the 9th round, he finished him off really with beautiful shots. It was if I remember, it was an overhand right followed by a straight left. The Mean Machine, he backs up, and Terence Crawford snuck in a quick, and this is out of the southpaw stance, a quick right uppercut and put him down. And pretty much he was hurt from there. He gets up and one shot puts him back down. Terence Crawford charges in, catches him with a right hook that looked like it might have caught him right on the temple or right behind the ear, knocking the equilibrium out. And I thought it was a good stoppage by the ref. Let's talk about what happens next. Bud Crawford. I'm one of the guys who have been very critical of Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is out here talking about he wants all of these fights and blah, 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 but yet and still these fights aren't happening. So some of the fights they talked about was one being Sean Porter. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that fight. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Sean Porter's come forward, rugged style against Terence Crawford's, conventional I should say not conventional, I should say his technical boxing style. I would love to see how that meshes, because we know that a lot of times a brawler can beat a boxer in a lot of instances, and this may be one of those times. Of course, with this, of course, there's Pacquiao out there, but you know the talk. Pacquiao's on the other side, and he's gonna say Pacquiao ran from him, blah blah blah. From what I saw last night, I think that if Terence Crawford fought Pacquiao, I would probably give Pacquiao the edge. I do think that even at 40 years old, he's still quick enough, and those short arms are actually an advantage for Pacquiao. He will slip, get in, and I think he could probably hurt Terence Crawford. I mean, we saw what the Mean Machine did to him last night. As far as Sean Porter, hey, you guys might think I'm crazy, but I would call it a 50-50 fight. I think Sean Porter is a much better fighter than people give him credit for. I don't think that Terence Crawford would plow through Sean Porter. He for sure is not going to knock him out. But I would call that about a 50-50 fight. Errol Spence, he's just had that car accident, so I don't see we don't know what his status is right now getting in the ring. And then there is Keith Thurman, and we all know how Keith rolls, so we don't know if that fight could ever be made or not. As for the Mean Machine, I would like to see him again. How about seeing him against somebody like maybe a Jamal James type fighter? I would like to see him against another guy in that top 25. He may not get another top 5, top 10 fight for 2-3 more fights, but I would love to see that kid again. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be watching if he fights again. I didn't know who he was before last night, but he definitely got my respect. That's all I have, fight fans. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on Twitter. Give me your thoughts right here on YouTube. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good fight. It ended up actually being much better than I expected. That's all I got. I'll let y'all later.